crazy couple of days it's been, especially if you're a Michael Jackson fan, especially if you're a Michael Jackson and Brandon Howard fan. So before I get into that, I just want to mention that March 5th, which seems to be when all this started, Michael Bearden, totally unrelated, posted something on his Facebook page. Where this black hat has been starting to show up all around everywhere. These little postings and drawings of him, and sure enough, yesterday I had an appointment in Hollywood, and I was driving up Highland, and as I passed Highland and Franklin, I noticed on the left-hand side across from the big white church, right there is the sketch of the black hat. Michael Bearden wasn't saying that Michael Jackson's behind it, but said it reminded him of it, and it sure does remind me of Michael Jackson as well. Now let's get into a little bit of what's going on between this paternity hoax, if you want to call it that. As far as I know, Brandon Howard never has claimed Michael Jackson to be his father. He's never denied it, but he's never claimed it. And it's just interesting that for whatever reason he was having some sort of DNA swab type thing go on. You know, why? I don't know. And what really makes me kind of upset is the way that so many of these articles have been written that don't cover the facts. And I'm not saying I know the facts, but I know what I've been told. So when I see totally false statements in the press, just one more time, people just kind of string things together to get this article out there that we read, and we the people take as fact. But I'm kind of on this rampage this week about, I've always been a King Arthur fan, and part of the whole thing behind King Arthur is before King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table in those medieval days, supposedly might was right. If you had the power, then you took what you wanted from those that didn't. And King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table turned that around. Might for right. In other words, if you have the power, you are there as a protector and a defender of those that don't. Well, I've noticed, and it's not just my story, because, you're probably sick of my story, but I've noticed with many people that I am close to, we're kind of all suffering one way or another with this situation where might is right, not might for right. People in power, whether it be systems, bosses, corporate world, they seem to be, and I'm not saying everybody, I'm just saying the people that I've been talking to, we're all kind of victims in situations of this might is right. People taking advantage of a situation because they can, because they have the power to. I hope you got to see my video of the Jacksons, because I thought that was a really good show. And I think the video, if only the sound were better, kind of captures the feeling, the essence of the show. And I don't know if you guys saw the Grammy tribute to the Beatles, but I was in the front row there, and you get to see me to the B. Howard and Michael Jackson thing. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of it because he's it doesn't it I mean, two people asked me recently if I still believe Michael Jackson's alive. And one person's a believer, so all I had to do was say yes. I didn't have to explain myself. And one person believes he's dead. And for those of you who believe he's dead, you're probably right. I know that. But, you know, I'm too vested in the whole concept that he's alive and he's still out there and he's becoming more and more visible. I really do think he's becoming more and more visible. I think the book that I wrote was published in 2011, and the last chapter brings in Brandon Howard. Because back then, before I had actually met him, I really thought that it was possible that Michael Jackson was disguised as Brandon Howard. Now, having met him, in spite of the fact that he was wearing a lot of makeup because he had just done a show, I could see that it's actually physically impossible. Brandon's way too young looking to have been Michael Jackson in disguise. But I just really, one of the, you know, his video where he's disclaiming the claim about Michael Jackson being his father, the one thing that stuck out to me is how he stressed, it's me.
Spread it around. Make sure everybody knows this is me, okay? Me. All right? So,
There have been times where I have thought that possibly Michael Jackson is getting his message out through Conrad Murray, because oftentimes what Conrad Murray had said in the past made more sense if it was coming from Michael Jackson than coming from the person who's responsible for Michael Jackson's death. And there's been times that Brandon Howard actually posts things that seem more Michael Jackson appropriate. And one of the first things I saw, and I'm so grateful to Sonia for reminding me about this. One of the first things I saw was in his Facebook photos, where it was game over. That's a whole lot of crazy, but that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Also, going back to my book right now, I when I wrote that book, it was intended to be somewhat humorous guide to the Michael Jackson death hoax community with, you know, a little bit of autobiographical memories, and it wasn't meant really in a whole lot of ways to be taken totally serious. But it was meant in a humorous way, but I guess a lot of people don't get my humor. The book was meant to be like a little guidebook, sold for like $5, and Amazon and Publish America had it at a ridiculous price that I was embarrassed to advertise for it. But right now, for a short period of time, if you go to the publisher, where I'll put a link down there, and you type in the little window where you can do a search, my virtual escape from reality, add to cart, and then in the coupon code, or, you know, like promotion code, type in bookstore and you'll get 55% off. So, and nothing for shipping, no cost for shipping. So you can get the book that I wrote for less than $8 now.